Yeah, I've just come off my Wi-Fi. I'm in the shed, so hopefully it'll be a bit better now. But can you all hear me alright? Just put a thumbs up for me, Essex mate, if you can hear me alright. Oh, sound. Yeah, so my boss sorted me out of that GoPro the other week, and he's like, oh, any chance you can get me a crab pot? He's never really done the fishing that much, but he's getting into it a bit more now. So he's like, oh, is there any chance you can sort me out a crab pot and that? He wants to go chop one off the shore with his nipper. He's got a daughter, a couple of their friends. Like, Pat mate, how's it going? The weather over here is horrendous. It's blowing out there at the moment, northeasterly, easterlies. Not the best. I had a bit of spare time, so I thought I'd come in here on the old spider pot, get that rigged up ready. He's doing it off the shore. He said to me, how much rope do you reckon I need for where he's going? I won't say where he's putting it. Anyway, I said, well, I don't know, go speak to someone at Mix or Marine in General or something like that. He went and brought this rope. He brought that. 70 odd quid it was. It's just crazy. Price of rope's gone up, so it is costing more. Joe mate, how's it going? I gave Dan a hand yesterday. We rigged up all his pots for him, his new pots. Stringed them all up, spliced all the ropes. So he was happy with that. Rope is crazy price. I think I was chatting to someone the other day, I think they said it's going up 5% now. At our local fishing shop, I was looking at some the other day, it was 144 quid for a coil. I didn't look how many meters were on a coil. It's a lot of money. Yeah, it is full of pots, Pat. We rigged them all up yesterday. I helped him rig up his new ropes, spliced them all up for him, and he gave me a load of buffs and stuff, so yeah. Obviously I put my video up earlier today. That was Friday, I think it was. I went out and done the pots because I knew the weather was going to be bad. When am I next out on the boat? Or when you're next out? I was planning on doing a bit of shore fishing last night. I knew the winds were going to be bad, but they were a lot worse than I thought they were going to be, so that's not happened. I am hoping to get out Tuesday. I haven't actually looked at the weather forecast for this week, but from what I've been told, the weather's supposed to be getting better. So my plan is Tuesday to go out. I've got someone who's going to dive for that string of ink bars that I've lost. Like I say, it was weird. I put them out Sunday morning when I went out fishing, when I had that pollock and I'd done my trot. Put them out Sunday morning when I went out, did the day fishing, And then when I came back in, I passed where I'd put them and the bobber had gone. So yeah, I mean, I can't imagine anybody would have nicked them in the space of a few hours. I think more than likely what's happened is a boat's come along, because it was only a small bobber. I forgot to bring a buff with me when I went to do it, so I only had a small one on the boat, so I used that to put it out with. But yeah, I'm hoping it's just a case that a boat's had it with a prop, and that I can get my mate to go dive for them and get them back Tuesday. Like I say, they're spider pots, because I thought, you know, the old spider's coming in now. What, Timothy? Doing a bit of gardening, mate? I only cut the grass on mine the other week at my house, so I need to do it again. I've also got to pick up another box of bait before I go out next as well, because I'm all out. Well, pot bait anyway. I've got plenty of rod fishing bait. I've got logworm, razor fish, scallop frills, and long nose strips in the freezer ready to go. Yeah, okay, Timothy, mate. Catch you in a bit. I'll say it's not going to be a long live, guys. My battery's, I've got 43%. I just thought I'd pop in and do a live. I haven't done a little live. Can anybody tell me how many's in the live, please? Tony, how are you, mate? 9. Oh, lovely. I haven't done many lives, so I thought, you know, let's get on it, do a live. Smash was live yesterday, he done well on his live. He had quite a few people in, I think. I don't remember if it was 400 or 600 people, I think it was 400 people I've seen at one point in his live. I didn't have time to watch the actual live. I was with Dano doing the pots. But yeah, I'm hoping if the weather, like I say, picks up a bit this week, we'll be going out. Tides are sort of just right as well for this week. I think high tide in the week should be about 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, which is sound, because I can get out 3 hours before high water. Over 612,000 likes. I was going to say, I remember it, I thought it went up to 600. But yeah, as I was saying, the tides are good this week, I think. I can get out off my mooring 3 hours before high water. So if the tide's 6 o'clock, lucky for me, I generally finish work at about 3 o'clock most days. So if that's the case, I can get straight from work, quick get home, change, and back down the boat. But again, like I said, I haven't checked the weather forecast yet. Surprised Paul's not in the live. Big spring tides, yeah. Well, I'm hoping to do a bit of shore fishing with the big tides. I think Paul was said the other night about it. Paul Leal, I think he said he was going after the bass, maybe Wednesday, I think it was. Oi, oi, and glorious. How's it going, mate? Fixing up pots again, mate. He'd be tired. Dave Sabeer's got some ink wells, Dan. I brought 2 off him. He had 2 there for a tenner, I think it was, which needed a bit of work, which I brought, which are the ones that I've lost. But he had a couple more there in better nick. I think he wanted 20 quid each for him, mate. But you'd knock him down. Tell me, give him 15 for him. They're outside his shop. But he's also got a load down the side of his shop as well, I think, mate. You didn't get them ones before on Facebook then? Oh, was it Dave that done it? He's sound, Dave, mate. I've known him years. He's a good bloke. Always work out a deal with him or something. You been down and checked your prawn pot? Yeah, it was a shame when Dave gave up doing the tractor in with the boats. Mate, to be fair, it was worth the money. I can't afford it at the moment. My brother even said to me about it. He said, "Do you see them pots on Facebook?" I said, "Yeah, he wants 130 quid for the lot." And he was like, "Oh, how do you know that?" I said, "I inboxed him." But my dad was like, "Nah," he's like, "Don't buy them." He's like, "I'll get them all for nothing for you, eh?" Which is a fair point, I suppose. Fishing Frustrations, you alright, John, mate? How's it going? Looking forward to getting your stickers, mate. I've got Loggies up there, looking a bit lonely all on its own there. I've got another one of Loggies to go on the boat as well. So I'll have yours up there, John, in the window, and I'll have some on the boat. Looking forward to getting a bit more footage with the GoPro. On that video I put up today, that was just a bit of a play around with it. What I'd like to do is bait up an inkwell really well and leave it down with the GoPro in it. Trouble is, I think the GoPro only sort of records for what, half hour, 40 minutes. About half hour, 40 minutes is long enough, I'd probably say, to get a spider crab, even one. It'd be good just to get that bit of footage of it going in and that. The reason I'm doing this to the pot, just going around it all with some twine, is a friend of mine gave me a couple of inkwells, and I said, "Oh, how do you know that?" I said, "I inboxed him." But my brother even said to me about it. He said, "Do you see them pots on Facebook?" I said, "Yeah, he wants 130 quid for the lot." I said, "I inboxed him." trouble is with the older ones, they've been in the sun and out of the water for so long that the twine's gone brittle on them. I mean, this one's not too bad, it's been repatched before with green twine, so it's not that bad. But yeah, it's got a couple down there that, to be honest, if anything, they need the mesh taken off completely and remeshing. Craig, mate, coastal forage fishing, how are you? Yeah, a lot of them lobsters and that the other day, they weren't sized. But I thought I just wanted to get a couple of videos, just like save them up at the end, just to show you sort of how many small ones we're getting at the moment. Ray fishing tomorrow. Do you know what? That's one thing I've never caught off the shore over here is a ray. I have tried for them. It's not something I've ever targeted before, so I'm not too great on where to go, what to times, tides, baits and stuff like that, you know. At some point this week I want to try and go for a place. Like I say, I wanted to go for a place last night, but like I say, the weather was just horrendous. I knew they were giving it bad, but I thought where I wanted to go, it should be sheltered enough. But I checked it out and there was no chance of me going. South Coast Angler, mate, how's it going? It's good to see a few faces in the live tonight. A few of the names I recognise. How are you all enjoying your Sunday? What are you up to? Stingray, form back, undulate ray painted. We get stingray over here, nothing offshore, well, not that I know of. When I used to work on one of the commercial trawlers, there was a bank just up on the Platt Lighthouse, just up towards Herm there. And you used to load up with stingray when we did that one. I remember the first time I'd ever seen one, I said to my boss, I sort of nearly picked it up. I was like, what's this? Like a black ray, yeah? I was like, what's this? He was like, put that down now. I was like, why? He was like, that's a stingray, mate. I was like, Jesus. Same as the first time I'd ever seen an electric ray. I was working on the boat alongside my dad for this, again, the same trawler. And my dad picked it up, he goes, what's that? And all of a sudden he was like, ah! Like, you know, it booted him through his gloves and that. Cheers, Craig. When I worked on the commercial boats and stuff, I never really weighed any of my fish that I caught. And again, never really took photos. And I regret it now. But I always looked at it as like, when I was bassing and stuff on the boats, we'd be pulling up 2 bass at a time, double figures. But I never looked at it as classing it as my record. Because yeah, okay, I caught it, it was me that caught it on a rod. But it was never pleasure, like, you know, it was never for myself. So yeah, I was a bit silly really, I never weighed anything. We've had like big, like Spanish mackerel and that. Like the biggest mackerel I think I've ever seen over here must have been about that big, I reckon. Or about that fat. And I think, if I'm rightly in speaking, I think that was on the Godine bank we had that. It was the Godine bank or Bank de Nord that we had that one. And like I say, some of the ray, trawling them up. You just never know what you're going to get there. We've had tractor tyres, we've had gorse bushes, all sorts. Seeing TVs, computers floating around at sea, fridges. Amazing what people dump out at sea. Very naughty of them. Cheers guys to everyone who's shared the link. And cheers to everyone who's hit the like button. I'm using Streamlabs to do my live. Can anybody tell me what I need to do to get so I can see how many's in the live? I've got a picture of 2 little body heads at the top there, but it just says 0. And I looked in the settings before, and all I could figure out was something said turn off. So I left it on, obviously. Pat, my dad did have a boat up until a couple of months ago. Yeah, see, how do you do that, John? Because I tried it and it wouldn't let me. But yeah, Pat, my dad did have a boat up until a few months ago, and he works as a fisherman full time. So he was hardly using it, and I said to him, I said, well, what's the point in having a boat? I said, you got my boat and my brother's boat. So I said, just use ours. So just get rid of yours. So he did. I was a bit silly really, because that would have been ideal for getting up the banks and that with. But it's more expense, keeping it somewhere, more fuel and that. So, like I said to Dan last night, I said I will be doing the bank run and that, but it's an hour's steam, 20 minutes steam up there. Like Dan can do it in 15-20 minutes flat out. Me flat out at 8 knots, 7-8 knots. An hour and a half, I reckon. Which is all well and good. I don't mind doing the travelling time. It's just if you get there and there's you do a day there fishing and there's no fish, it's a bit disheartening, you know. Oh, I'll try that one then, John. I'll download that after, mate. Yeah, well that's it, Pat. That's what I was saying to Dan last night. It's one of them. It's the night before. Plan it. Run up with the tide and that. Get the tide going up there. But I've got to do it. I've not had a turbot on the. I think I've had a brill on the rod, but I've not had a turbot on the rod. So it's got to be done. Coffee's not tasting too great now. I'm wondering if I should get a beer. Harry, mate, hello, how are you? Just repairing a pot for my boss. Yeah, beer sounds great. Yeah, with the old point, it's good. It's nice and it's a quick place to go. You do get a variety of fish up there. I've had some nice tub girders up there in the past before. Big stuff. So yeah, as you can see, this has been patched with green mesh. Like I say, there is, right here for instance, there's a hole here. The simple reason is, see that black twine there? It's just brittle. Just break it with your hands. Like that. so I've just got to lace around all the green stuff again. I'd say most of it's been done. That's all pretty solid stuff. Just got to bind it all up and that. Cut off any straggly bits, make it look good. Well, I was going to get a beer. I'll be back in a minute. Hi, Frankie, mate. Here comes the beer, yeah, Pat. Nah, I'm not going mad tonight, mate. Work tomorrow. I've been to Ordney not as a holiday as such, or a visit. I'm working on the boats we used to dock in for the night and stuff. If we were trotting or anything around there, we'd go in there for the night and then go into the pubs. Jason Blundell. Yeah, I think I do. Is that your mate Dan you stood on? Was that the bloke you were chatting about yesterday? But yeah, as for Ordney, the only place I know over there is the Divers Inn. Nice, quick and easy, straight by the harbour there, you know. Other than that, I don't. What boat have I worked on? Are you local, Frankie? Frankie Jennings. Oh, right, okay. I'd know him if I'm not too great with names. That's why when I see a lot of people on the lives and that and they chat with their names, I don't know who they are. Oh, right, okay. Well, let me think. When I left school, I first started working for the fishing co-op. They had the Anchory, the boat that used to take the crabs from here to France. That was the first boat I ever started working on. I left there, started working for a bloke called John Carre. What was the boat called? Chape de Nord. Worked with him. I've done a bit did a bit with Prev when he was trawling. Done a bit with Simon, I can't think of his second name. He's got a green boat. He used to come up by Ordney there doing the trots. Worked with him. Worked for Shane Petty when he was here. I've worked for Piero. Worked for Adrian Brosh for a little bit. Paul Breben, worked with him for a bit as well. A bloke called Icky that used to be over here. I think he lives in Thailand now. Did a bit with him. Trying to think of else. I've done bits with other little boats, you know, when there hasn't been a lot of fish or stuff like that, sort of jump ship and that, you know. So I've done everything. Oh, Peter Marion, worked with him as well. Mad Marion. He don't have to go out in some weather. It's in the blood, fishing. My dad's been a fisherman all his life. He's always worked on boats. He got me into fishing from a very young age, before I started on any of the boats. So I've got him to thank for. You know Pete, yeah. He used to have quite a big boat. I think it was called the Vagabond, was it? Big potter, eh? You might know my uncle, maybe. He used to do a lot of boat building. Brian Billion? Not Brian, sorry, John Billion. I think he built a boat called Sarah Louise. And I think that was a big potter. It's going back some now. Two sets, guys, there's a fire engine outside. That's right, I don't know if there's nothing going on. Was that Andy Prevost? It was just behind Surf and Turf, Pat. You seen what boat was that, Harry, up for sale? Sarah Louise? And yeah, that was a bit random. They've just gone next door. I thought I'd better just check. Make sure it wasn't my house. Oh right, so it's still going then. Wow, because that's old now, the old Sarah Louise. Well, you say that, Pat. I worked on that boat that he had, the little trawler, and a lot of people said, and I noticed, when you're trawling, when you had the gear in the water, the back of the boat was always down, real down, and like the scoppers would almost be underwater, and a lot of people said like it's not balanced right or something like that. Anyway, that was the boat that got sold to England. I can't remember if it was Brixham, and it was used for a few years. It obviously had work done on it, but that was one of the boats that sank, and there was 2 people died on it. Big steel, I say big, it wasn't massive, but it was steel, eh? blue. I can't think of the name of it. Hi Richard, mate, how's it going? What sort of boat you got, Frankie? No, I can't remember its name. Evening Frogster. I'm good, Richard, mate, yeah. Just repairing a pot for my boss. He wants to do it off the shore with his nipper. He never really spoke much about fishing, my boss, when I first started for him. He's always said, oh, I'd like to come out and that, which he hasn't yet anyway, but ever since I've started my YouTube channel, he's flat out watching it. Oh yeah, the old Marion dinghies. They're ideal for the bay fishing, for bass and stuff, and nets and trots and whatever. That Shaggy Dog fishing, I like his channel. It's good. He's a young lad who's starting out fishing, and yeah, I want to give him some support in that. He commented back on one of my comments today saying like, thank you for giving him a shout out on Facebook, and he was like, oh, I really like your channel. He said, I watch your channel and that. A Marion dinghy's made here. A lot of people have got moulds over here for them, so they are making them over here. Although I don't think many people's made any for a while, not that I know of. They're lovely, lovely dinghies though. Oh, nice one, Harry. I just gave away a little dinghy. It was similar to a super dinghy. I think, if I remember rightly, it was a Jimmy Blundell made them. He made them. They were like sort of built on a sort of French design. Had the real big flary bow and that, all planked out and stuff. Big gunnels at the front. Just how you look at a modern day trawler, French trawler. It was exactly the same shape as that, but 12 foot. Or 11 foot, I think it was. You can share out another channel, Richard, mate, I don't mind. Ah, right, okay, yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. There was quite a few moulds made. Build one yourself, Jared, yeah. I do know a bloke, I can't think of his second name, and I'm not sure if it was a Marion dinghy, but I know he had a mould similar. Whether he's still got it or not, I don't know. I haven't seen him to speak to for quite some time, but if I bump into him, I can always ask. I can't see it being a problem to borrow the mould or whatever, providing you look after it. At the end of the day, it's only a mould. Okay, I think I'm up to 100, or I was before when I looked, up to 181 subscribers now, so in the last 2 weeks we've shot right up, because I got stuck at like 218, I think it was, 218 subscribers, and I didn't move for about a week, 2 weeks. And then I'd lost a couple, but then they were saying the other night on the live chat that people had been losing subscribers. Ah, right, it was a Frenchie. It might be what he's got then. Take it easy, thank you, mate. Have a good one. How many we got in the chat now, guys? Fourteen watching, 14 likes. Great. Happy with that. Well done, guys. Darren Ozier. Darren Ozier, that's not... That's you. You're not Darren that works at Pier, are you? No, I'm just trying to think. I don't think it was Darren. Like Steve, I think maybe. Okay, I've got a Plymouth Pilot 18, one that I'd purchased a little while ago. It'd run itself up on the rocks, broke its mooring. I brought it for bits and stuff for my old boat before I brought my new one. But anyway, it turns out I've got to cut it all up now. I was hoping that I'd had someone look at it. Dave Sabir looked at it and he said the work could be done, but it will cost a bit. So I did sort of put it up free to take away, maybe thinking someone might want it as a project, but no one wanted it. And now my landlord, that I've got it on the field, my farm, he's not happy it's still there. So I've got the joys of cutting that up tomorrow after work. It's going to be fun. Looking forward to it. Not. But hey ho, it is what it is. Yeah, I know what you mean, Jared, mate. If I'd have had, basically, like I say, I got told that, you know, it could be fixed and that. For a boat builder to fix it with all materials from start to finish, he said you'd be looking at about £3 grand. But he said to me, he said if you were to do it yourself, he said you could probably cut the price in half. But I didn't have time to do it, because my plan was to get my old boat out of the water, take the wheelhouse off, put a wheelhouse up the front. But then obviously I just ended up buying this other boat instead. It was a fine boat. It never really got much use, I don't think. They never really went out in it often. But they took the risk, eh? They left it down in the winter, and the gales were getting worse and worse and worse. The owner seems to think that he did have a tractor and trailer organised for the week after to get it picked out of the water, but I don't think that, whether that was true or not, I don't know. Hi Jess, mate. See, with this I want to bind that with rope really. Bind that bottom half I think with rope. We'll just focus on this top half for tonight. Get that all sorted up. It's not that bad. I'm surprised you haven't gone live tonight, John. I think there was a couple of lives earlier. Fair enough, John. Like I say, I really want to try and get out this week and get some shore fishing in. I'm not sure how many of you on there are from Guernsey in the chat, but does any of you know Mad Marion, as in Tony Marion? He's a plasterer. They call him Mad Marion because he's mad as a hatter. He sends me videos of himself in the shed, chatting, rigging up fish and stuff. Ah yeah, you know Tony, well you know how mad he is, and fishing wise. We've done a couple of cliff fishes with him, like, you know. And he took me to this cliff one day. No rods, he said, we'll just go. He said, I haven't been for years. And he goes, we'll go over saw, and we'll just hack away, make our way down, because he said, I haven't been there for a long time. She said, it's going to be overgrown. I said, yeah, that's fine then, mate. Anyways, starts walking down there, starts getting down the cliff and that, through all the brambles and gorse, making our way down. And it was near on vertical going down. Got nearly all the way to the bottom of the cliff. It's just up by Plymouth. And I said, Tony, I said, there's no way I said I can come down there, mate. He goes, what do you mean? I said, mate, I don't feel safe, like, you know. He goes, no, you'll be alright. I said, if I slip, I said, there's nothing stopping me from going over the edge. He goes, no, you'll be alright. I said, sorry to say it, Tony, but I said, there's no way I can come back here in the dark. I said, and come down here with my rods in my hand. So he called me a bit of a wetty for that. But he's been known to be standing on a cliff face, back up against the cliff, fishing in stupid swell. with some of the colleagues he's worked with and that. He's been in the paper and that, not any recent papers, but years ago he'd have like fish of the year and stuff like that. Well, yeah, I chat to him most evenings. That's it, yeah, he used to play darts. He's good at the old Rubik's Cube as well, eh? It wasn't the height that had me worried, John. It was just a case of, if you fell, it wasn't like there was any trees you could grab onto on the way down the cliff or boulders or anything like that. It was literally just like fern, like, you know. He came out, he was in one of my videos not so long ago actually, Tony. He came up the point with us fishing. He obviously doesn't get out fishing as much as he used to. Do you know what, Jared? I would like to get a licence for my boat so that I could get more pots. I mean, at the moment I've only got 9 pots out, I think it is, which is plenty for me. If I had any more, I wouldn't be able to get rid of the shellfish. I mean, I eat all my shellfish I get. Any lobsters and that I get, I eat myself. Crabs and stuff, or family will have them, like, you know. But I did inquire the other week about a licence, and he seems to think for a licence for my boat I'll be looking about 10 grand. Now, fishing ain't that great at the moment. Hasn't been that great for a few years now. So it is something I'd like to look into, but I don't think it's going to happen this time, anytime soon. Which is a shame, because my boat's already had a licence on it before as well. I would quite easily get one. I think if you haven't had a licence on a boat before, it's a bit more hassle to get a licence on it with the surveys and all that. But my boat hasn't changed much since it had this survey. Oh, I don't blame you, Pat. Yeah, I won't go any. If I feel a bit unsafe, I won't do it. Like, I'm not risking my life for a fish. Well, that's it, Jared. See, I can get a wet fish. 10 grand. That's a shellfish license, so that's not wet fish. I can get a wet fish license, I think, for, I think it's about 6 grand, and I'm allowed to land 5 lobsters a day and something like 20 crabs a day, which is fine. But you're not allowed to store them crabs. You're not allowed to store the lobsters at the end of the week and say, well, look, that's my 5 a day, here's my lot. You have to land the 5 a day. So like, I'd have to go out, if I caught 2 lobsters, I'd have to sell them that day. Which really, you don't want to be going back and forth with 1 or 2 lobsters. You want to save them up and go there with 20 odd lobsters, you know, if not more if you had the pots on it, you know. I would have liked to have got a licence, because then if anything happened with work as well, I'd always have the fishing to fall back on. But like I say, with the way the fishing is at the moment, it's not worth forking out 10 grand for a licence. To get 10 grand of lobsters back, that's a lot of potting, a lot of fishing. It's a lot more pots, a lot more bait, a lot more fuel. I'm happy just doing it just to get a feed for myself. What was that link you said again, John, for the live, mate? If you could put it back in, I'll write it down, because I've only got 13% battery. Here, I see our fishing, mate. How's it going? You been out much? I take it you haven't with the weather. I seen you a couple of weeks ago in your van. I think you might have made a video after I seen you. I think you must have been going fishing that day I seen you. Yeah, you probably know, CI. What's happened to Bailiwick fishing? His account's gone again. I had a look. I noticed it had gone the other week. Oh, was it Richard that said it? Yeah, I had a look the other week, and I seen his channel had gone. And then I looked again a couple of days ago, and it still wasn't back on, because I know he made a new one up, eh? After he deleted his first one by mistake. Oh, that's a shame. He was a nice lad as well. I haven't seen him for a few weeks actually. When you say you went fishing, obviously you went over on the Herm boat, right? Did you get much? Oh, I suppose you don't want to say. You made a video, I suppose. Like I say, guys, if there's anyone in here that weren't in here before, check out Shaggy Dog Fishing on YouTube. It's a young lad. He's got his own channel. He's got like a little Marion type dinghy. He does pots. The video he put up the other day was a cracking video. He had a few lobsters. And he had a decent sized red mullet in his pot as well, which I was quite surprised to see. Oh, you still had a bass then, that was still worth going. Like I say, I think Paul's hoping to go this week off the shore for the bass again, I think. He's got the buzz now after that night I took him. He can't wait to get back out. God, I really got to get a fid for the shed. Got a fid on the boat, not one in the shed. Yeah, I haven't done a massive amount of lure fishing, not recently. I'll tell you what, I'll be back in 2 seconds. I'm going to grab my charger because my battery's about to die. I'm back. Charger work? Yeah. Yeah, so like I said, I took Paul that night bass fishing. He said, oh, I phoned him in the day. I said, what are you up to, Paul? He said, not a lot. I said, what you got planned for tonight? He said, nothing, I don't think. I said, I'm going to go try for a bass. He said, fancy coming? He was like, well, maybe. He's like, give me a ring, let me know what time and that. So I phoned him. I said, right, I'm going such and such time, you coming? He goes, yeah, go on then. He said, I'll come along. I said, I reckon we should get something tonight. Tides were good. Fresh log worm. Anyway, he came. I had 5 bass, he had 1. But it was his first one, so he was well chuffed with that. They were only schoolies, but bass is a bass. Made the video. Paul had his first fish, first ever bass, so all in all it was good. There's still quite a few in the live, guys. Mate, I'd forgotten my battery torch, eh? I've got this, well I can't show you at the moment because I've got my phone plugged on it. But yeah, I've got this battery torch that's nice and bright. And I'd forgotten it that night, so unfortunately a lot of it was done off the head torch. So you couldn't see a great deal of what was going on, which was a shame. Back to work tomorrow. I work Saturday morning this weekend. I don't normally work Saturdays, but I work Saturday just to get a push on one of the jobs, which I don't mind doing every now and then. It all helps, but it did mess my weekend up a bit because I haven't been able to get on with much. And my boss wants this pot done for Wednesday. like I say, Pat, once you're all back to normal, mate, and you're all good health and that, I'll take you out on the boat fishing any time you want, mate. As you can probably see from my videos, I've always got different people coming out of me. I like to let people come, get out and about, do a bit of fishing. See, the old mackerel haven't quite hit yet, eh? See, they're starting slowly. People's getting the odd few here and there, but there's not been anything substantial about at the moment, eh? Do a little bit. That's there. 2 sets, guys. Yeah, there's small mackerel. Right, Jason, mate, how's it going? Had a couple of keepers in the pot Friday. Got the lobsters. There's a lot of small stuff around at the moment. So yeah, once this pot's all up and ready, I'm doing it again for anybody that hasn't heard. Making it up for my boss and his nipper. They want to chuck it off the rocks over here. So I'm fixing it up for them. He wants to get it up Wednesday, I think he wants it ready for. So I'll probably make a video of that, chucking it out. Probably just add it on to the end of one of my other videos. I don't think it would be quite long enough to make an actual video of it. But we'll see. Might be able to add something on. So has anybody else been fishing much recently? I know obviously we've got a bit of bad weather, so it's not ideal fishing. 24/7 YouTube fishing for me. When I'm not working. Roll on when the wind swings to the west, easterly or bad. Nothing wrong with that, Pat. Nah, I must admit, when I'm not fishing or I'm not doing anything, I'm out watching YouTube all the time. As a lot of you probably know, you always see me on the chats. My girlfriend, she certainly knows about it. I don't, Frankie. I say the wind's horrendous at the moment, eh? I did wonder about going out in the boat though. I thought, should I push it and try it, but it's not worth it. Yeah, it's what that is. There is it's a new type of elastic. Years ago, you'd use something like that, which is pretty much just like an inner tube from a car or a bike or something. Well, if anything, it would probably be more like a wheelbarrow because it's smaller, like, you know. But yeah, you've got so many different types now that you can use. Yeah, there's plenty of us now, Darren. I try and sort of, it's hard to keep it completely different all the time because obviously fishing's fishing, you know. But I do try to sort of try and keep it a little bit different. Like I said, I've done that trot that was in that video. As you've probably seen, there wasn't a video of it going out for good reasons. It didn't go out exactly how I wanted it to at the start. I actually ended up having to pull it up, so it went out twice. I had James on the wheel and I said, you know, he's never really done boating before, so bless him, he does quite well. I let him take the boat all the time. But I said to him, I said, keep it going that way. Sort of basically said, head towards the castle, lighthouse. And I'm watching them doing the trot, baiting up the hooks as I'm going along, and I'm thinking, hang on a minute, why is the scenery sort of changing a bit? I turn around and he'd sort of gone half moon shape. Which wouldn't have been the matter, wouldn't have been a problem because we could have just straightened it out. But the issue was, when we went to straighten it out, we caught up on someone's pots. So I couldn't leave it, I had to go back, we had to turn around, put it all in. So, things happen, it's been a long time, it's been a while, good year or two, year and a half, 2 years since I've actually done a trot off a boat. So it was trial and error. But we will be doing a net as well. I've got a couple of sole nets, and I've got a trammel net as well, which I will be putting out because the more pot bait I can get, the better. And obviously, if I can get it for free, that's even better again. Cheers, Darren, mate. Yeah, I hope it'll grow. It's getting there. it's grown a lot faster than I expected, than I thought, so yeah, I'm happy with that. Cheers, Pat, mate. Thanks. It started off, when I first started, it was like I could edit a video in 10 minutes, 10-15 minutes. Now, with the GoPro and doing that bit more, I mean, that video I put up today, I was probably nearly an hour editing that, because I had to get the image on my camera. So like when I was pulling the string of pots, I had my brother filming on the GoPro and I was filming on my phone, and I was having to go through and get the right one. So like when he was pulling that string up, I had to go on the GoPro and look for the underwater footage of that string to keep it all in sync. Otherwise you'd have noticed like different scenery in the background when it come out of the water and that. Get them down so no one's getting their hands on them. So that's one pot. Pretty much ready to rock and roll. Like I said, there's a couple of bits I want to do with some rope, but I haven't got any rope with me. My rope's down on my boat and down my field. I've got a field that I keep my spare rope in. Oh mate, that would be brilliant, CI. I actually used up the last. I've got basically, when Paul gave me a load, what I did is I filleted them and put them into tubs so that it made room in the freezer. But I used the last of them along those the other day. In that video you've probably seen, I pulled them out in the tub. You alright, Candy? How's it going? But yeah, I'd be grateful for that, mate. And obviously if I've got enough, once you've given me some, I will say like I won't any. But and Dan will always take some off you, mate, if you've ever got any. He uses a lot of them for turbot fishing as well as mackerel. But Dan's missus, I think it was, has just brought him a little vacuum pack machine. So I might invest in mine, because my idea is when the mackerel's in, catch a load of mackerel, freeze it, fillet them, and then freeze them. Because I won't use them too much. Mackerel isn't really any good for pot bait. I mean, it will catch the crabs and that, but it's only like a 24-hour thing. With mackerel, as soon as it's in the pot and you get a crab in there, it's gone within 24 hours. So I want mackerel mainly for other baits, bassing and stuff, congering and that. Oh right, you've already given him some. That's good, mate. See, everyone looks after each other. Like I say, I was probably 2 or 3 hours yesterday down on Dan's boat with him. He brought some pots, and basically they were in singles. So you just add your 15 fathom of rope from your bobber to your pot, and he had a few more pots anyway. So he was gonna like join the 2 pots together with a swivel, one of these. So you'd have your 2 ropes, 2 ends, have one in here and one in there, sort of thing. And I said to him, "No, mate," I said, "don't worry," I said, "I'll come down and we'll splice them up, like, you know." So basically what we did is we took the bobber off. So we had one with a rope to a bobber, we took the bobber off and got the other one with a rope with a bobber, and I spliced the 2 where the bobbers would have been, spliced the 2 together, and then put another lead of rope to a new buff light, you know. I use racing pots, Pat. I use anything. Dan likes to chuck a lot of stuff back, which is good, and I will chuck stuff back. But if I'm low on bait, like conger and that, conger's a good bait. Conger will last. You can put a bit of conger in a pot, it'll be there a week's time when you pull it. We've already done the shout out, Candy, for Shaggy Dog. that wrasse that I had the other day, we were low on bait, and my dad was like, "Oh, you should have kept that, you know, hunter gatherer and all that." Eh? But I was like, no, I said I want to get a video of that swimming off. So he was like, "Oh," I was like, "No." I said, "Do you want my boat? I want a video. Let's let it go." Like, you know? Otherwise, yeah, we'd have caught it. We had, I didn't get a picture of it, but we had a not small but half decent conger in the last sort of one of the last couple of strings that went in for bait. But I love it. Yeah, my nipper, he's mad for it. He wants to come fishing. I've taken him shore fishing a couple of times. We've not had nothing, but I've got to take him where it's safe and stuff. He's been wanting to come out on the boat, so I need to get him a life jacket, because the ones I had on my previous boat, I let the bloke keep him because he had nippers, and I thought, well, I want to get new stuff anyway, so I let him have them. So I've got to get the nipper a new one. I was going to get him on this weekend, but the weather was rubbish anyway, so I didn't bother. I'll get him on next weekend for the week that I've got him. Fishaholic, mate, how's it going? I would normally, Darren, yeah, I'd normally hang them up. You're better off hanging them, let them go a bit on. They go a bit like rubbery, almost like a bit leathery. Again, even better, they last even longer in the pots like that. The only thing is you get a bit of a smell. I'm not quite sure what people would have to say about it when they got their pleasure boats next to it. But yeah, I'll pay my mooring fee, so. If you want to, Candy, that's fine. Obviously, a lot of it goes by weight. So I have said I'm going to have to weigh him because I haven't weighed him. He's only 3, bless him. And I've been calling him my little fisher boy. So he's been running around saying, "I'm a fisher boy, I'm a fisher boy." He fell over the other day and he grazed his knee, bless him. And he gets up and he's like a little bit teary-eyed and that, and I was like, "Don't cry." He goes, "Nah, fisher boys don't cry, eh?" I said, "Nah, us fisher boys don't cry." I said, "We're big strong men, eh?" So bless him, he loves it. He's been running around in my t-shirt. As soon as he gets to mine, he's like, "Daddy, can we put you on the telly? Can we put you on the telly?" He's the fisher boy and he calls me the fisher man. He says he's a fisher man, I'm a fisher boy. Bless him. But yeah, he's buzzing to come out on the boat and that. He's never had a fish, he's never caught a fish before. So I'm hoping to get a life jacket, get some good weather, get the mackerel in, and I'll just put one hook on, cut the mackerel feathers down, put one hook on, and I'll take him up the point and he can catch the mackerel. He'll love that. He's got his own little rod. He's got his little rod here rigged up from float fishing when we went and tried for the long nose. So that's his little rod. Gets it out and then he pokes everyone in the eyes with it. Gets so excited. The future of fishing, Pat, yeah. It fits him, Candy. Well, it's a little bit big, but it's better to be bigger than a bit tight on me. Right, Mohammed, how are you? We've just been rigging up this spider pot for my boss. I've got a couple other bits to do to it tomorrow. I need to get a bit of rope to put my spindle on, my loop. I didn't have any with me today, but that's all rigged up now, ready to go. What, my face is hairy? I haven't had a clean shave in years. If I shaved my beard off, oh, I look so different. None of you would recognise me. No worries, Frogster. Like I say, it's something different. Bit of a different chat. Sorry guys, I don't normally like to smoke in front of the camera and that. It's got a good base on it, plastic. Instead of someone's concreted a little bit of a slab in there for weight. I hope it's not too heavy for my boss pulling it up the rocks. Mind you, he's a big strong lad, I'm sure he'll be alright. There's a couple of bits here and there that could be done, I suppose. That's the way to be. I'll tell you what, I used to be able to make, you know, the trawl nets with the squares, the mesh, like you got here on these pots here. When I was working on the trawlers, one of them taught me how to do the squares. You got a proper little, it's what they'd call it, like a knitting needle, and you got your rope and it's twined around it and it's about that long. It's got a point on the end of it. I'll have to try and find one to show you. And yeah, he taught me how to make up proper bags and stuff, but I've forgotten how to do it now. There's something I'd like to look into doing again. You had a bass, Mohammed, have you? Just a schoolie? Little one? It's amazing, out of everyone in my family, oh, £1 2 ounce. Ah, not bad, little fish, I suppose. Yeah, so my dad's been a fisherman for years. My brother's obviously taken on the role of fishing as well. Neither of them can really splice. It's surprising how many people can. When I did the splicing last night for Dan, I said to Dan, I said, like, with the splicing and that, I can do it. Yeah, it is. They pat it off. It's amazing how they do it. But yeah, so twice I started the splice. I had to undo it, and I said to Dan, "It's the only thing that gets me. It's the starting off on the splicing. Once you get it, once you start, it's sound. It's just over under. Dan said to me, he said, "Bloody hell." Mind my language. He said, "Kai," he said, "you must do your girl's hair at home." I said, "Why?" He said, "Well, if you're good at splicing, surely you're good at doing the hair." I said, "Man, my girls don't touch their hair." I said, "I don't think they'd let me come near him with a fid." He was laughing, right? But now it's something different. Like I said to Dan last night, I don't mind helping anybody out, you know. And he said, "No, cheers that, mate." He said, "I appreciate it." I said, "No, anytime, mate. If I can help out, I'll help out." And he said the same. He said, "If I can help you in any way, mate, let me know." Ponytails. Yeah, I'm not even the best at ponytails, Pat. They still end up with bits hanging out. Like I said, we got some good tides coming up for some bass. We got some 9 metres, I think, this week coming up. 9 metres. Again, I haven't checked the weather, but I've heard that there's some good weather coming. So 9 metre tides, good weather. Like I say, I want to get out after a place. part of your job, Pat? What, to do ponytails? Yeah, see, no, see, we've got obviously a couple of low tides coming up, Ormond tides. But the trouble is, they're in the afternoon, but I don't think I'm going to be finished working time. But I'd like to see if I can speak to my boss and maybe get an extra hour or hour and a half off of work in the afternoon and go down. But I'm not so sure I want to go down after Ormers. I was actually thinking of just going down to a couple of places and just making a video with the scenery and what's around. If the tide goes low enough, there's a couple of big reefs just outside St Peter Port Harbour there, and I don't know if there's any anymore, but there used to be quite a few pots over there that used to be banged off. I've been there before in the past and found a string of 3 or 4 near on brand new pots that have been there for months, like, you know. So again, it'd be nice to go over, show you the scenery. You'll see, I've seen pots that people have paid out that are dried out and stuff like that, you know. So again, it's good. It gets you get to see the seabed where we would normally put our pots. Colin, how long have I been doing YouTube? I've only been doing YouTube, I reckon, 3 months, 3.5 months, coming up to 4 months maybe. I think it was only, yeah, it's only been, I don't think it's been longer than 4 months. 3.5 months, I reckon. I downloaded a video editor, and I had a load of like images and short clips on my old boat of just going out in nice weather and stuff. And I just put them all together, and I thought, oh, I'm going to just make a video. So I made it, put it online, and obviously nothing ever come of it. Because obviously I didn't have any subscribers and all that. And then I thought, oh yeah. So I can't even remember how I started it now. But I've done it. Oh, I think I came onto a couple of people's lives and I started chatting and that, and people just got to know me and that. And then I thought, you know what? I want to start making proper videos. So I started making proper videos, and the subscribers started coming in. And then, yeah, I mean, I started got the new boat. I mean, the best video I've got so far, with the most amount of views, which I think is nearly up to 1,700 views, is the video of my new boat going in the water. That's my top video at the moment. And then I think my second one is going out on my brother's boat with my dad doing his pots. That's the next one. I think that's like 1,500, 1,000. Yeah, 1,500 something views. I will, Mohammed. Yeah, do you know what? I've done fishing for years. I've always been fishing, and I've always been someone who takes pictures and puts their fish on Facebook and stuff. So then when I I was watching Dan quite a bit for ages. Actually, I was watching Dan, and again, like I said just now, I thought, you know what? I'm just going to make a little video up, and I made a little video up. And I thought, do you know what? Yeah, I'm just going to give it a go, see how we get on. And then obviously, yeah, the subscribers started coming in, and I thought, yeah, I'm going to stick to it. So yeah, and that's where we are today. But it's surprising. There's a lot of people that I talk to. I don't go to the pub often. I've got a local that I go to, and I went there a couple of weeks ago, and I was actually surprised the amount of people that said, oh yeah, we actually watch you, like, you know. I've had a couple of people inbox me as well that I would never have thought would have inboxed me, and they've said, oh, really love your channel, mate, keep up the good work. And it's people that like that give me the go, like, you know. I think, yeah, people actually enjoy it. Obviously buying the new boat gave me a buzz as well. Being able to go out further, and you know, if I'm just nipping out just to do the pots and no rod fish, and if it's blowing a bit, I don't mind going out. Okay, it's a bit rolly. There's nothing to do. You know, when I went out in that Force 5 and done the pots with my mate, there was sort of a couple of times there we had a couple of big rollers that rolled right over, like, you know, on the side of the boat and that. And he was a bit like, whoa, do you know what I mean? And I said to him when we got back in on shore, I said, mate, I'd never take you out on the boat if I ever had any worry. I said, there was not once, I said, out there that I said I had any thought that I was thinking, geez, like, you know, let's go in, sort of thing. And that was how I used to look at it years ago when I worked on the fishing boats. If we were going out and it was rough, if my skipper wasn't scared, I had nothing to worry about. They know what the boat will handle, you know. There was only ever one time we were taking fish, I think it was, from here to France, and I think it was blowing a 7 to 8, and we sort of had to, this was coming back actually, sorry, from France, and we had to, it was like we had to come back then or we were going to be stuck in France for like a week because the weather was getting bad. So we said, oh, we're going to take it, like, you know. And I remember I was sat in the wheelhouse, and obviously this was on a big boat. I was sat in the wheelhouse, and it's probably like 7 foot away, the width of the wheelhouse, and we hit this wave, and I flew out of my chair and pretty much landed on the skipper across the other side of the wheelhouse. And I looked at him, mate, and he had worry in his face. And he said to me, he said, go down in the galley, mate, like, you know. And that's the only time I've ever thought, Jesus, like, if he's saying that, that sort of put the worries up me a little bit, like, you know. Because, like I say, your skipper, he knows what the boat can handle, eh? So if he's not scared, there's nothing to be worried about. If he gets a bit of a look on his face, that's when you've got to start worrying a little bit. Yeah, my boss gave me the buzz with the GoPro, because that's going to get me out more. Mohammed, yeah, you can post anything. Anybody can post anything they like on my Facebook page, on the Inshore Guernsey one. That's why it's up there. I've basically, nice blunt. I've basically joined a load of groups. Not pages, groups, for me to be able to share my videos onto, to obviously try and get me more subscribers, and for people to see. If any of you have got a group and you don't want me to do it, just, you know, when a lot of people have got to approve it. So if you don't want to, don't put it up, like, you know, take it down. There's been a couple, and I've sort of realised now, there's been a couple where it's like shore fishing, and I've put up doing the pots and it's been declined, and then I've put up on the same one like the bass fishing and it's been accepted, because obviously it's shore fishing, but a lot of people like to see the boat fishing as well, you know. I love them, Pat, mate, the slow chuggers. Like I say, I could go out all day and that without shutting the engine off. I'd be lucky if I spent 20 quid, you know. It just costs nothing to run, and it's reliable. Like, you know, you got to look at it as, you got a outboard engine. If you're 20 minutes, half an hour motoring somewhere, and you're flat out, that engine is screaming for 20 minutes or whatever, or near on screaming. With a little diesel inboard, if I'm doing half throttle and I'm doing 6 knots and I give it full throttle and I'm still doing 6 knots, it's like there's no point, just keep it as it is. So I'm not screaming the engine either, like, you know. And they're not as technical. I've had outboards before, and I'm useless when it comes to electronics. So if something happened out there with an outboard, the chances of me getting it running again is very slim. Whereas with a diesel inboard, if something was to happen, there's a 99% chance I'll probably get it up and running again. Hey Timothy, back again, mate. Cheers, Pat, mate. You always share mine anyway for me. Yeah, same again, Timothy. You always share it on your page for me as well. It's a cracking boat. I love it. It's like I say, I've said in one of my videos before, it's my third Island Plastic. My first Island Plastic 21 was similar built, similar shape and setup as what I've got now, but the winch never worked. The engine was donkeys. It was really old. To be honest with you, it was a Lister Petto, I think it was. Really old thing, air cooled as well, so it wasn't water cooled. So it was one of them engines. If you didn't have good circulation in your engine box, they're designed in a way so if they get so hot, they actually heat seize. So they just seize up, and then you let them cool down, and then they will start again. So you got to get a lot of cold air going through it. Well, anyway, I'd brought the boat knowing a little bit of history on it. It'd been sat in a field for about 5 years, and when I went to buy the boat, I looked under the engine hatch, and the engine was 3/4 submerged in fresh water. And I thought, right, okay. So I said, right, I'll buy it anyway. Brought the boat. I flushed the engine out 4 times. Gearbox oil, normal oil. Flushed it out. And it was an old, it used to have the old hand start. So you put the whole handle on it and wind it up. Release the pressure, or put the pressure on one another. And do that. Well, I'd flushed it out 4 times. And I hand started it. And it started first time. And that was 5 years sat in a field. We're pretty much submerged underwater. And I used that engine for a whole summer, all season, and not once did it ever let me down. I've got to speak to my mate. He was actually going to get hold of me tonight. He hasn't got hold of me yet. But he was on about maybe Tuesday after work, Timothy, to go. We grappled for it. You obviously seen the video. To be honest, I could have done with a little bit more weight on the grapple. It was definitely on the ground, because my dad said when he was holding it, you could feel it bouncing on the sand. But there is reefs around where I had it, so there was a couple of times it snagged up. But, I mean, someone could have taken them. I very much doubt it. In the amount of time that it was there, I can very much doubt anybody would have stolen. I'm pretty much sure the boats had the bobber. There's definitely enough rope on it, because I've got another string 15-20 feet away from where I put them, and it's got the same amount of rope on it as what I had on there. So yeah. Nah, engines ain't like they used to. Like I say, the one I've got on my new boat's I can't think now, a Beta, which is quite a modern engine. But like I say, the old Lister, I've actually still got it. We brought, because it was so reliable, that one in my first Island Plastic, the one that was waterlogged, because it was so reliable, we ended up buying a slightly smaller CC, same engine, exactly the same, but a water-cooled one. And we never done it. We never put it in. I ended up stripping the boat back down to the bare hull, and I'd never had the time to refit it out. And my mate that I went out with on the boat, he ended up cutting it up. So that was the first one, and then my second one obviously was the one I just got rid of. Mate, it's surprising, Colin. I've not travelled much, so I've not been away much and that. I've been a couple of places, obviously Cornwall, Devon, stuff like that. But you start going further north, even just in the mainland. I remember going away years ago with my parents and that, and people were like, "Where are you from?" And we said, "Oh, Guernsey." "Guernsey? Where's Guernsey?" "Channel Islands." "No, we don't know where the Channel Islands is." And like, you'd get the map out and you'd show them, it's like a tiny little rock to them, and be like, "Oh, we're there." "Oh, right, never heard of you," like, you know. It's surprising how many people don't know where we are. So yeah, it's good, like you say, getting Guernsey on the map. And what a lovely island we've got, eh? I mean, to get to a beach, even if you're in the centre of the island, to get to a beach, you're only, what, a 5-minute drive, 10-minute drive, if at the top. The pot hauler, it's alright where it is. If anything, it needs to be out a bit. Sea fishing, Timothy, you will love it, mate. One thing I haven't done is freshwater fishing. That's what I want to do. When I went to Scotland with my girlfriend to visit her mum, which is actually Candy, that's on here, I wanted to try and do a bit of freshwater fishing for salmon, but I didn't have the time. And again, it was like where she was living, you're an hour's drive down to the sea, so it wasn't ideal. Yeah, it's a shame, Colin, at the moment with this pandemic that we can't get out anywhere. Yeah, if you come to Guernsey, Timothy, mate, shout me up for sure, mate. We'll definitely get you out fishing. Bit of shore fishing, bit of boat fishing. I'll definitely take you out and we'll do the pots and that. Yeah, it's the same over here, Candy. For freshwater fishing, you need a licence to fish for them. I've got a friend of mine, he's been saying for years, oh, I'll take you, but we've never got round to going. Because you get some pretty big carp over here. Oh, Smash, how's it going? Nah, it's my second live, mate. My second live. I was saying earlier, the app that I'm using is Streamlabs. Doesn't tell me, or I haven't figured it out, it doesn't tell me how many people's in the chat. But yeah, we've just been rigging up a spider pot for my boss. He's getting into it since he's been watching my channel. He's been buzzing about fishing, so he's like, oh yeah. He's like, can you get me? He's going to chuck it off the rocks and stuff. So he's buzzing. He wants me to get it all rigged up wet by Wednesday. We've put a new bait band on it. Repaired a lot. Basically, the mesh I was saying before, a lot of it's green. The old stuff, it's been out of the water for so long and in the sun, it's gone brittle. So someone's already rigged up all with the green stuff. So I've just been going over it with twine, where the old black stuff is, just to strengthen the mesh up a bit. Oh, that's good, Timothy. I'm not sure what a licence is over here for freshwater fishing. We haven't got that many places. There is quarries to go to and stuff. Obviously, I missed your live last night, Smash. I did pop in and out. I was obviously down on the boat giving Dan a hand rigging up his pots for him. Took a bit longer than I expected, but I did nip in and out. Did I miss something? Did you eat some squid? Was it a bait squid by any chance? I'm just going to nip and grab another beer. Sam munched a fisheye and I munched a squid head. Oh, nice. I got a mate of mine, he's a bit like that. He goes, you ever eaten fish eyes, mate? I said, no, and I don't intend to either. He's like, oh, they're lovely, mate. He said, especially when you get the pop in the middle. I was like, enough's enough, I don't want to hear it. I'm just going to go grab another beer, guys. We're back in a minute.